Session 28. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We begin with the name of God, who is most gracious, merciful, and we begin with the blessings on Prophet, peace be Muhammad, peace be upon him, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last and the final prophet, Nahmaduhu nusalli ala Rasulihil Kareem. And we begin Ulaika yaduna ila nar wallahu yadu ila jannah. The believers call you to hell, and Allah calls to heaven and to forgiveness. We had covered how the disbelievers call mankind, humanity, to hell in the way of total liberty, allowing man and woman to do whatever they like with their bodies. Then how they call the mankind to hell in the way of their political system of democracy, and thirdly how the disbelievers call to hell in the way of their economic system based on interest. Logically now, we should see how Allah and His Prophet, peace be upon him, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, call mankind to heaven and to forgiveness. So there will be a democracy and comparative analysis, my apologies, between democracy and Khilafat, the today's subject. Democracy and Khilafat, a comparative analysis. Khilafat is a divine system ordained through Qur'an and Sunnah. Democracy is its antithesis. It's a product of human mind through an evolutionary process. Khilafat is a system of man being vicegerent of Allah on earth. In democracy, the Quran, the opinion of the people, to be precise, the representatives of the people, be it the legislature or the executive, holds supreme. Contrariwise, in Khilafat, it is mandatory that every measure and every step is strictly in accordance with what is desirable with Allah, that is, in pursuance of Quran and according to the way of the Prophet, peace be upon him. In democracy, the value system, the right or wrong, the justified or the unjustified, the good or the bad, are all determined through the Constitution, made by the representatives of the people, the assemblies, who can decriminalize or criminalize anything at any time. It's the man who decides on all these, and irrespective of his religion, culture, spends his life in accordance with this man-made law. Whereas in Khilafat, it's Allah and His Prophet only who have laid down the value system, the right or wrong, the just or the unjust, the good or the bad, forever, which can't be changed or modified or suspended till the doomsday. It is the basic faith of the believers that the Rabb, the Creator, who has created the man, has also set for him the most flawless principles through Quran and Sunnah to live by, follow till the end of the temporal world. Not living, it is not left to the man, my apologies, it is not left to the man to wander in darkness, live chaotically, and to deduce a way of life, his values system by hit and trial. As such, it is the foremost duty of the Caliph to ensure that all the Muslims spend their lives according to these principles laid down by the divine authority through his Prophet. Democracy is a secular way of spending one's life, in which the existence of Allah and the hereafter is not relevant, is not practically accepted. Democracy, living the entire life according to the way of the Prophet, peace be upon him, is Khilafat. Democracy means the rule by man himself, laws made by him, whereas Khilafat is the rule of Allah, the orders of Allah. Democracy means man is the supreme authority. Democracy is a pertinacious, tenacious disobedience of Allah. Khilafat is total submission, not putting a foot wrong from the way of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Democracy is the precise antithesis of Sunnah. Just as Satanism is a way different from subservience to Allah, so is democracy directly opposed to Muhammad's way of life, peace be upon him. Muhammad did everything, lived for the pleasure of Allah, according to the desire of Allah. Democracy means living according to the values people have laid down for themselves. Their liberty, right to do anything as long as it doesn't take them to the police station, is established in democracy. For example, lesbianism, gay, gambling, drinking, porno, sexploitation, open marriages, shaking up, flirting with another's spouse, riba interest, hoarding, windfall profiteering are all part of liberty approved by the Constitution in democracy. Democracy can function in all types of states, whether the majorities there are Jews, Catholics, Hindus, Buddhists, or atheists. The obvious reason being that it puts mockers on living according to any particular religion or concept or ideology, but with a secular system, secular culture in which God and the hereafter have no relevance. Contrariwise, Khilafat ensures man's welfare in both the worlds, the present and the hereafter. Since the last decade, however, democracy appears to be cracking up under two very glaring trends, influences in Europe especially. Secularism has come under stress with the rise in spiritualism on one side and anti-Semitism on the other. Certain people adopting a religion and an equally strong lobby even against religious symbolism, that is, no scarves of Muslim women, no turbans of the Sikhs, and no cross for the Christians. All men can agree on something for some of the time. Some men can agree on something all the time, but all men can't agree on all the things all the time. All men can agree on some, my apologies. All men can agree on something for some of the time. Some men can agree on something all the time, but all men can't agree on all the things all the time. Certain quarters have fears that democracy too is headed for the graveyard for a dozen of reasons. In USA and Great Britain, it is being considered to have a lifelong president or head of the state, which is as for caliphate. Muhammad's way is transcendent, excellent, surpasses all others, and transforms an individual to live a transcendental life, going beyond the animal state in excellence. Democracy permits the man to live with his animal-like instincts, stultifying the soul, satisfying all bodily pleasures. It doesn't care for the injunctions of Allah and the hereafter. The modern day critics of democracy have also been questioning the very concept of the rule of the people. As the history of democracy shows very glaringly and quite tragically, that almost in all democratic countries, it is the rich people only who can afford campaigning for the elections, who always remain in the legislatures, the assemblies, and who form the executives and the governments who are the actual rulers. So, democracy is virtually oligarchy. These masses have only the choice to choose between these rich industrialists, ranch owners, landlords, and additionally, all political parties are supported by rich donors who are the virtual paymasters of the House and the opposition. As such, political parties, rich lords, senators, congressmen cannot pass any laws, political regulations, however beneficial for the people, against the economic and political interests of the rich industrialists. The majority is right principle in democratic countries keeps the value system in a flux, regular periodic change, and making it worse, it can be applied to ethics, morality, and human conduct. For example, gay, lesbianism, open marriages, shaking up, sodomy, adultery, fornications, etc., have all been accepted normal human conduct because of, as per them, their words, social boredom in Western democracies. Yet the West holds the principle that divine law, Khilafat Caliphate is faulty, and majority democracy is right. Now a brief comparison between the two systems, democracy and caliphate Khilafat. Democracy first. Number one, as per the definition of democracy, government of the people, sovereignty rests with the people. The constitution and the laws made thereof are to be obeyed. In case the injunctions of Qur'an and Sunnah are followed, democracy would cease to be. Khilafat, Allah is the only sovereign to be obeyed. No obedience is permitted in disobedience of Allah and His Prophet. 2. Democracy. All the laws, rules, regulations are made by the people, the representatives of the people. Allah has no role in lawmaking. Khilafat, Quran, Sunnah, Sharia is the law. All laws, rules, regulations are based on Quran, Sunnah, and Sharia. Additional lawmaking is only permissible in matters that are neither ordered nor forbidden by Sharia. 3. Democracy. Man is neither the abd, slave of Allah, nor subservient to Him. Rather, he is the sovereign himself and totally free. Following his own desires and pleasures is his basic human right, in which he is only to remain within the limits of the state's constitution and laws. Khilafat. Man is the abd, slave of Allah, and subservient to Him, and must spend his entire life in His obedience and the obedience of His Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. 4. Democracy. Religion is an individual's personal affair. Church and the state is separated. One may worship Jesus, Uzair, Allah, Bhagwan, Buddha, but one has to live with secular constitution, secular laws, and secular political, economic, social, education, and educational systems. As such, whether the countries are of the Orthodox Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, or the atheists, democracy is working in all. All the people have accepted to live a secular life in which Allah and the hereafter have no role or concern. 4. Khilafat. It is the duty of the state to implement the injunctions of Qur'an and Sunnah and get these obeyed by all and sundry. Khilafat is responsible to ensure that Islam stays in its pristine, perfect form and to work, endeavor and fight for its supremacy. 5. Democracy. The man himself decides on the right and wrong of things, the good and the evil, the just and the unjust. Human values are decided by the people, that is, the parliament, the congress, the assemblies. These values have been changing according to the moods, trends of the people in the past and may keep changing in the future too. Khilafat. Allah and His Prophet have laid down, established all values for the mankind, the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, the just and the unjust, the desirable and the undesirable forever. None can change them till the doomsday. 6. Democracy. There are different forms of government in various democratic countries, the more prevalent being the parliamentary and the presidential systems. The systems of voting also differ, each having their merits and demerits. Fresh elections are held after every term. The parliament assemblies can also change the government before its term expires. Khilafat. Excuse me. The Caliph nominates my apologies. The Caliphate nominates a shura. My apologies. The Caliph nominates a shura consisting only of the people he considers fit to replace him. The shura meets after his death and selects the new caliph from among themselves. A caliph is appointed for life, and it is not permissible to remove him as long as he runs the affairs of the state strictly according to Qur'an and Sunnah. Any orders contrary to those of Qur'an and Sunnah are not to be obeyed. 7. Democracy. Democracy, secularism can't sustain the Western civilization. Rather, it will cause the breakdown, disintegration of the Western society. Khilafat. Islamic civilization can break down, disintegrate unless the system of Khilafat is revived. I repeat, Islamic civilization can break down, disintegrate unless the system of Khilafat is revived. Khilafat is the most potent force and most essential to sustain the Islamic culture, civilization, society. Democracy. 8. Democracy based on secularism is directly opposed to the purpose of jihad, that is fighting in the way of Allah to eradicate zulm, evil, injustice, exploitation in the world. Khilafat, jihad, fighting in the way of Allah to eradicate zulm, evil, injustice, exploitation in the world can hardly be sustained without caliphate, without Khilafat. It is the caliphate that finances, prepares, plans, organizes, and launches unified forces. 9. Democracy. Democracy based on secularism is the antithesis of religion, spiritualism. Any religion that doesn't pose a threat to its secular way of life, that is, satanic worship of one's own self, pleasures, and desires, is tolerated. Democracy negates jihad and makes people of all the religions live together on secular principles. It will endeavor to unite the mankind under the flag of universal brotherhood. 9. Khilafat. Islam has become a victim of multiple sects, bifurcations, denominations in the absence of Khilafat. Different types of Islam are being created, like the liberal, the moderate, the orthodox Islam, etc. It's also being shaped into Deen-e-Ilahi of Akbar, the Mughal ruler, in which he tried to create a new Islam by borrowing from other religions. 10. Democracy. Democracy stands for liberty, equality, fraternity, according to the way these terms are supposed to mean in the West. However, ground realities are a bit different. The white definitely enjoy political, social, psychological supremacy over the black, the brown, and the yellow. Liberty also means the liberty of insulting, ridiculing the prophets of other societies, of hurting others under the license of freedom of speech. Khilafat, the higher objective of Khilafat is to eradicate zulm, evil, injustice, exploitation, economic and social facade, disorders, that is, all sorts of exploitations, and making equality the basis to unite the entire mankind and to enable it to live in a global village. 10. Democracy. Democracy is based on a strange, petrifying concept, philosophy, that my party, right or wrong, my country, right or wrong, my culture, good or bad, my country comes first, its economy must be strong even if the economy of 15 other countries has to be ruined for this purpose. It is considered perfectly justified, moral, to destroy, ruin, and kill millions of people of other countries to guard the perceived security interests of one's own. This is patriotism. Khilafat. Khilafat discards nationalism and is insensitive to all divisions, classifications of mankind, but that of zulm, evil, injustice. There are just two, the Zalimeen, disbelievers, or believers, those who perpetrate zulm, and the Mazlumeen, the victims, the persecuted, the exploited, the ruined, the subjugated. Khilafat has a universal concept of peace. Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the model for the entire mankind, and the Qur'an a global constitution. If the mankind aims to live in harmony and peace in a global village, it will have to take Qur'an as global constitution to unify the mankind. And we have no doubt, for it was stated by the Prophet, peace be upon him, that there will be a time when Prophet Jesus, in his second life, would be the caliph of the entire world, and Quran the global constitution. So revival of the caliphate is the duty of every man, Muslim. The Prophet said, not a single day should pass over the Muslims when they are without a caliph. The Prophet said, not a single day should pass over the Muslims when they are without a caliph. Muslim. Jazakallah.